Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I got some vices down off the shelf and I wanted to clean them up a little bit, and I found one that's got kind of a question to it. This one, I know what it is. It's called a corner vise. And it's kind of stiff. It works. It's just a light duty vise that you'd use for little jobs, you know, like where you're gonna work on something and you don't really have a workbench. And this lets you clamp it to a table or pretty much anything. It's got to be at least 3/4 of an inch thick though, because if you don't have 3/4 of an inch, then that little clamp there won't catch it. Interesting thing about it, it says Willoughby O, and I kind of wondered about that for a little bit. And on the other side it says F.E. McGlinchy. Now F.E. space M.C. space G.L.I.N.C.H.Y. It's got to be somebody's name or a company name. So I did some looking. Went on the internet and I found an F.E. McGlinchy. It was mentioned in Vintage Machinery's documents page. F.E. McGlinchy worked with Champion Hardware Company. Back in 1917, he patented a vise. This vise. And he made a short run of them under his name, and then Champion Hardware Company made a bunch of them. Then there was Little Co, and the latest batch of them were made under Stanley name. Now they don't look the same, and this is kind of unique. The ones for Little Co and the two that I found on the internet listed under F.E. McGlinchy were all aluminum. This one is cast iron. Now, I haven't looked up every vise, but the ones I could find. This is the cast iron one. I'd say most of the rest of them are aluminum. At least all the Stanleys were. Now, a lot of people like the Stanleys, and I've never used one, I've never had one. But it's an interesting vise. The only thing that keeps me from cleaning this one up a whole lot and then figuring out, you know, painting it up and making it look pretty, giving it a kind of a modified Scout Crafter, because I never get as good a finish on things as Scout Crafter does. He's evidently got more patience than I do. I'm going to give this a little drop of oil because that thread really needs it. Much happier. Got one fixed shaft and one thread, and the bolt for the thread is actually a very nicely made one. Now, I don't know how they latch that in there. Looks like there's a pin right there that holds this bolt in place. It works really good because it doesn't slide out and doesn't walk around on you. That little spot there doesn't have any oil on it. This one's been sitting on the shelf a long time. So it's dried out. Now it's a happy camper. It's drilled and countersunk here, same thing on the other side, for two boards to be fastened in there so you can grip woodwork. And that's what makes me think this is a woodworking vise. It's not a machinist vise like this big thing here. That's a machinist vise. This is a woodworking vise. So I went looking for F.E. McGlinchy, and other than finding a spot where they mention F.E. McGlinchy as having patented this vise, I can't find any pictures of this particular vise or this style of particular vise. I can't see any cast iron ones. Now there may be some. I'd be happy to see some, but I can't find any pictures of this vise. So that makes me kind of question, you know, when you've got something that's unique and rare, you don't want to go in there and start scrubbing the paint off of it, because sometimes that's the way people like to have them, is like that. And I'd hate to screw up a really nice collector's item just because, well, I wanted to wire brush it. So I'm going to ask all you guys, have you ever heard of an F.E. McGlinchy vise or seen one anywhere? If you have, please put a link in the comments and I'll go look them up, because right now this is a cool little vise. I really don't have a use for it, so it's not like I'm desperate to get it up and running. I mean, it works, it does everything it's supposed to do, but I've got vices galore. I don't need any more, especially a little one like this little odd thing. So anybody from the Willoughby, Ohio area, or who knows about Willoughby, Ohio, and the Champion Hardware Company, which was a manufacturing company that made toys. I understand that at the end of their operation, they were making toys. But I'm really interested to know anything about F.E. McGlinchy and this little vise. I'm going to put a close-up picture of the trademark. There's a trademark cast into the vise right here, and on this side too. So I would like to find out anything I can about this little vise, and I'd appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I rate them all. Thanks for watching. This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union, without the express written permission of the parents or legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC.
Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.